What's up guys? I'm Adriana, and on my channel I am trying to do a lot more commentary type videos where I just take topics and just talk about them, you know, as you do. This video is gonna be a spicy one because I'm talking about influencers and consumerism. Over on my blog, which is always linked in the description box, I've actually talked about this before. I usually always do kind of commentary type blog posts there anyway, but I'm bringing them to YouTube because they're a lot easier to talk about. I do have a blog post about this, but I definitely thought there's a lot more to it and it's a lot easier to kind of talk about, so that's what I'm doing. So this is definitely not to bash anyone. Whenever I pick a topic, it's because I've experienced it in some way. Like, I never want to speak about something from like an outsider perspective. I definitely always want to understand where it's coming from, because I never want to speak about a topic that I have no idea about. You can never really understand it, I guess you can say, from if you don't experience it. So that's kind of where I go from like all the topics that I usually talk about. I have a lot more videos coming up where I'm talking about things that I definitely like choose because I've experienced them in some way. So yeah, influencers and consumerism is something that I am very passionate about. I started my little marketing business because I love the marketing side a little bit better. Like, it's something that I've grown to love. But I've been an influencer for about 6 years or so, and I've worked with a lot of brands, and I've done a lot of sponsored posts during this time. My blog, if you guys don't know, is my main platform. If you guys see my channel, it's still pretty small. My blog site is my main platform, so that's where all the sponsorships came from. I have my master's and I got it in public relations. So when I did my thesis, like, I definitely did a whole in-depth paper about influencers and just the industry. So it's definitely something I'm very passionate about. Again, I'm an influencer, but then I'm coming from the marketing side as well. So I have two sides of the table that I know about. I definitely want to dive deep into this topic and just talk about where it's at, where we're at as influencers. So let's get into it. So it's very easy to see influencers as like rich and living the life. I mean, all the big influencers are. They can afford Gucci all the time whenever they want. I'm not saying it's wrong. That's what we see influencers as. If you think about the influencer world, a lot of the stuff that comes from it is people telling you to buy things. And again, it's something that I am. Like, I'm an influencer. I've done sponsored posts. We're definitely always talking about products and like, hey, you should try this out. Oh, I love this. If you see bigger influencers, you see the stuff they have and you're like, wait, I want to have that too. I want to have that lifestyle. So then you want to buy the item that they're showing just in the regular day-to-day. So it definitely comes a lot to money. When I started my YouTube channel, and I talk about this in my reacting to my old videos, which will be linked up, but I talk about it a lot that like when I started my YouTube channel was kind of when hauls were like the big thing. Like, you saw girls doing hauls about like Brandy Melville and like Forever 21 and all those big like really cool brands at the time. Everyone was doing hauls, and I know that when I started my YouTube channel, I was between my freshman and sophomore year, and I remember having my first job, and I was like, I want to start my YouTube channel, and I would spend paychecks just buying clothes because hauls were popular and I wanted to post my hauls. I would spend so much money on clothes because this is what I saw on YouTube at the time, and then I ended up having an abundance of clothes. It just got chaotic that I was like, do I need all these clothes? Do I need to spend all this money to become a YouTuber? So obviously I stopped that. I've been off and off on YouTube. Like, right now is definitely the most consistent I've been on YouTube in the longest time. Back then it wasn't a sustainable thing. Like, I couldn't be spending that much money on clothes. But even when I shifted just onto my blog site, like, fashion blogs were like the popular thing, and obviously to keep up with fashion blogs, like, you have to have cute clothes. People are constantly spending money to live up to this look on social media, you know? And I feel like that's what influencers are. Like, they're selling an image that people find desirable, and you just want to live that life that you see they have, and you're spending money to live up to what they're doing. I feel like the gist or like the underlining of influencers is the fact that it's all about money. So one of the things I do want to say is that being an influencer, it's okay to make money, but also be conscious of what you keep pushing, because you can do sponsor posts. I do sponsor posts all the time. I love working with brands. I do say no to brands that I feel like don't fit my style. I'm fine saying no. I pick brands to work with that I genuinely love, and I'm like, okay, cool, like, I can actually promote this. At the beginning of 2019, I had so many sponsored campaigns going on, and I was like, yeah, and I was on track to beat like my records for like the past few years, and I was like, I'm gonna make so much money. But it like significantly slowed down during the summer, which is actually really rare. Summer and then like Christmas time are usually like the very high volume times for like sponsorships. I think it was a blessing in disguise because I did think about, okay, what is my content without sponsor posts? What am I adding to the conversation, you know? And I feel like I learned not just about money. Being an influencer is so much more. Like, you can be positive influence to people and be a genuine good role model to people, and that's what it should be. I personally love hearing influencer reviews on items. This is why also influencers grew so much, because people wanted to see normal people talk about things. If you see someone that you love talking about like a makeup product, you kind of trust their review a little bit more than like a celebrity. So that's why it kind of grew. I still love watching my favorite influencers and my favorite YouTubers talk about certain things because I'm like, okay, like I trust what they're saying. So it's definitely not all bad. But I think the issue is when it comes to just influencers trying to make money off of everything, and that's kind of where the issue lies. I was following someone on Instagram because I love their feed. I remember she would post like 2 posts a day. It wouldn't even have like a genuine caption. It would just be like, click to like this from to the like to know it app and shop my outfit, which again is what a fashion blogger does. But at the same time, it's kind of like, at least try to make a quirky caption or ask people like, hey, what's your favorite fall trend? I don't know, like make it in the sense that there's some content behind it, that it's not just a picture for you to tell people to buy it. As influencers, are we solely doing things for the money? We're pushing these items to our followers so they can buy it. So it's kind of, we're getting money and we're telling people to spend money. It's very easy to make money online. There are places where you don't even have to be an influencer and you can make affiliate links. Is everything we're doing driven by making money? The thing is that we're making the money, but then we're telling people to spend their money to live the lifestyle we have, that we can only have because we're getting sponsorships. I'm just asking people to be responsible, I guess, because I was definitely on the receiving end of this. Like I would buy a lot of things because I was like, this is the cool thing and I need to have it because that's what everyone's having. I remember going into Brandy Melville and buying Brandy Melville. It's definitely not my style. It's fine making money, like I'm all for it. I still have sponsorships that I take. One, learn your audience. If your audience is like teenagers, don't be promoting like vacations or something. Be aware of your audience, but also be aware that you're gonna tell people to spend money on this item. Make sure it's a good item. Don't just be pushing people to keep buying things. I feel like we can have a whole conversation about influencers being hoarders, because I see so many influencers with so many things and it's kind of like, do you need that all? Because then people are seeing it and then they think they need all that stuff, and it just creates this little bit of a snowball effect and it just gets worse and worse. So I'll be linking a lot of the resources I found down below so you guys can check them out and you guys can make your own research if you guys are interested, because I find this topic really interesting and I found a lot of other articles about this because it's definitely a thing. Influencers have fueled such a consumerism approach to life, I guess, and the thing is that it's not going to slow down. One of the articles I found that I will link down below, it says that in 2018 so many brands were fueling into influencer marketing that they were spending from $25,000 to $50,000 getting influencers to promote their brands, because it's the new thing. Everyone's looking towards influencers and seeing what they're doing and what they're buying so they can get on top of it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. From an influencer perspective and from a marketing perspective, I love influencers. I am one, but I also work with them. It's definitely a good field to dive into. What I'm trying to go off is influencers need to be smart of what they're promoting, what they're saying, especially when it comes to making people spend money. A lot of influencer culture is buying things and having like Gucci items, and a lot of normal people can't afford that because it's pretty expensive. So another thing that I did want to dive into was sustainability. I will admit that I'm not really perfect and fully aware about sustainability. I do want to shop more sustainable, so I did stop shopping at fast fashion stores. I will link Tiffany Ferg's videos about sustainability because I love her videos. I mean, I feel like she talked about those topics very well. But influencers feed a lot into fast fashion culture, and I'll link the information down below. And again, I will say I'm still learning a lot about sustainability. It is a decision I am trying to make. It's a process. Like I definitely want to make better choices. I see influencers, and some of my favorite influencers, they shop a lot at fast fashion stores. So if you guys don't know, like fast fashion stores like Shein, Forever 21, Fashion Nova, these are all fast fashion stores. They have long-lasting like repercussions. They deal with environmental issues. Those stores feed environmental problems, and they often have poor labor conditions for their workers. And a lot of people don't know that, so I will give them benefit of the doubt. This is something definitely that you have to research and be like, oh, these are fast fashion stores, this is what they're doing. And again, I'll link the articles down below because there are articles specifically about influencers and fast fashion. Influencers push a lot of fast fashion. I learned about Shein from YouTubers because I would hear a lot of people talking about them. But the reason that Shein has very affordable prices is because they have cheap materials. It's not good, guys. I will link it down below, but like the HuffPost actually said that fast fashion is gonna be like a quarter of the Earth's carbon budget by 2050. Like that's a big deal. But obviously like influencers talk a lot about fast fashion because one, it's like affordable, and if you're constantly constantly talking about clothes, like you're pushing fast fashion because their clothes are affordable. You can easily get them. They have the latest trends, so it's easy to stay up to date to the current fashion trends and make videos about them because you're getting from these really affordable places. But then it pushes people to buy tons of clothes from them because they're like, oh, a shirt's $5, like might as well get a bunch of them. And like, again, like you're telling people to spend money on clothes. Like, let's be honest, like people don't need this much clothes. There's actually a whole documentary on Netflix, which I'll put the title here because I forgot what it was called, but they were saying how like shopping for clothes has increased within the last years because people are starting to buy a lot more clothes now, that like before people weren't buying that much clothes because people didn't need that much clothes. We're telling like influencers to buy a lot of these fast fashion clothes. People are going to see these prices and then be like, I can buy so much more and get so many more garments because they're cheap. It goes into like, yeah, it's consumerism, but at the end of the day, there's a sustainability issue that we're not aware of. And I think it's crazy for me to see like influencers who have high-end items like Gucci or Chanel or whatever then end up promoting brands like Shein, because at the end of the day, you're making people buy things, but you're not even realizing the repercussions that's going to have long term. And I feel like there's a whole other issue of like influencers not researching who they're working with. If you guys are on YouTube, you have seen scandals of people who promote sketchy brands and then end up scamming their followers. But I definitely feel like influencers have a social responsibility. Like, don't just tell people to buy from a brand just because like there's a social responsibility behind it, but you also need to be aware that people are spending their money because they see that you like that thing and they want to be like you, which isn't a bad thing, but be a good role model. Like, that's completely fine. Be aware that people can be spending tons of money to try to live the lifestyle you're living. Another interesting article that I'll link down below is by the Financial Times. They have a whole article called Why Social Media Influencers Are Not Our Friends. They just straight up say that influencers are just trying to make money off of you. But I know that they brought up the whole Fire Festival situation, how like influencers were promoting about that. This event has never happened, yet they were promoting it. And obviously we know what happened with the Fire Festival. It was bad. Their whole point in the article, which I'll link down below, their whole point was that like social media influencers are not our friends. Like, even though it's a very personal approach, they're just trying to make money off of you. I know for me it's very sobering. I always say this, like I want to have a very genuine connection with anyone who follows me. Like, I want this to feel like we're talking and we're actually conversing, and I definitely want to connect with you guys. So why is this an issue? Influencers are not going to go away anytime soon. I am an influencer. I don't want to go away anytime soon. But I definitely feel there needs to be like a conscious approach to what we're doing. Because I know that I include affiliate links. If I talk about an item that isn't sponsored, like I'll include an affiliate link because it does provide a little bit of income. But I always make sure like, hey, if you click this, I'll earn a little bit extra money. It's definitely like learning to not go overboard of like just doing it because you want to make money. Don't just talk about things because you're like, I can add an affiliate link here. But there is actually an influencer who reached out to brands and actually asked them to stop sending her PR. She wants to be more sustainable. I think is really, really cool. And it definitely takes a lot because influencers get a lot of PR. There's definitely a lot that can be said about influencers and sustainability. Going back to the consumerism, influencer marketing is shaped from consumerism. Brands 100% capitalize off of influencers. I feel like I don't see hauls as much, but I still see hauls happen and people talking about like, I bought this other, and it's not a bad thing. I know that I still have done hauls within like the last year or so. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that we need to be more conscious of just pushing people to buy things. If you can't do one post without having an affiliate link or having it point back to people buying something, and maybe we're missing the whole point of what we're doing as influencers. And I feel like there might be other examples of this, but I know that like influencer culture has shifted a lot. Again, there's so much that can be said about influencer culture that's not just about consumerism. There's a lot of topics that can be talked about with influencers. It's a very interesting industry. Influencers push a lot about buying things, and that's something to be very much aware of. And I feel like there are some people that are very much aware of this. Like, you see people who hate sponsorships. Things will always go out of style, and then you're gonna be stuck with like things that you just bought because. I remember like a few months ago, the whole dumbest purchases I've made like trend was going around, and you'll see like influencers who bought big expensive items that they regret it. And I feel like that goes back to all of this. This industry is just fully expanded on telling people to buy things. Then other people are just buying things like they can't even afford, but they just wanted to portray this lifestyle. So it's definitely a very tricky situation because again, I'm an influencer. I know that sponsored posts will require me to tell people to go to a link and check out the products. I am fully aware of that, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Again, it is not a bad thing. You can do sponsorships, but what I'm saying is to be conscious of overly telling people to spend. If you were to take away the making money part of Instagram and YouTube, will you still be making the content you're making? And that's something to be very much aware of. Not everything has to be about getting money. So I do think that influencers are fueling consumerism because I've seen it, I've participated on it, I've seen my favorite YouTubers promote something and then I go out and buy it because I'm like, I want to be like them. I remember buying Shape Tape because so many people were talking about it, and you know what? I actually hate Shape Tape. I did not like how it fit on my skin. I just bought it because I heard so many people talking about it. So I've fallen into that trap as well. So again, it's something to be aware of, that consumerism is a thing that is fueled by influencer culture. And I guess for people who aren't influencers, just be aware of what you're buying into. Don't feel like you have to buy the things influencers are promoting to live the lifestyle that they have, because they definitely live a different lifestyle than normal people do. I have a full-time job and I'm an influencer who has done sponsor posts, and yet there's still some things that I can't afford. I'm still paying off my student loans, so a lot of my money goes into paying off my student loans. So if you're just a viewer, don't feel like you have to buy these things to be happy. Don't feel like you have to buy things to live the lifestyle influencers have, because they're definitely in a unique position. Even though they're normal people, they have a lot more resources that even they might not say that they have. Definitely don't feed into like you have to buy things to live that lifestyle. And influencers, definitely be aware of what you talk about. Definitely just promote things that you genuinely love, because people will support you and they'll click your affiliate links that will make you money, but then they're spending money. So it's something to be aware of on both sides. Don't just push people to spend money because it'll earn you money, because that's something that does happen. At the end of the day, it is your reputation on the line, and if you're promoting sketchy products just for the sake of a paycheck and people end up buying it and get scammed, that's 100% on you, because you're the one that's promoting it. So definitely don't do that. So the gist of all of this is that influencer culture has definitely influenced consumerism. Like I said, I have been a part of it. I have bought things just because I've heard my favorite influencers talk about it. It's definitely a thing that happens. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There's definitely a lot more that can be said about this topic, so let me know your thoughts down below, what you guys think. If there's something else I should be talking about, let me know your suggestions down below, because I definitely want to touch upon more topics and just fully research about them. So let me know what you guys want to see, and that's pretty much it for this video. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. That's pretty much it. I'll see you guys later. Bye!